game that has a moment that seems so critical, do you feel it changes after the Rankin-Houston moment, or were there signs that Port was getting better on the outside before then? Where do you reckon it makes the big change?
Yeah, slightly before that moment, they started to get the ascendancy. We felt just started beating us in some really crucial contests and had us pinned in that back third. We felt that, but I thought the game sort of swayed right up until that point. But yeah, no doubt we noticed that upstairs.
So how do you feel your players handled what happened to Rankin, the fallout that you get?
Yeah.
Is it hot like that, and then maybe even the way Port Adelaide pushed that agenda a little harder into your players?
Yeah, we didn't handle as well as we'd like, and that was our conversation post-game, led by our leaders. Probably a pretty good lesson for us in what it looks like when emotions are high and the adrenaline's pumping, and every person in the stadium would have felt it. We weren't quite able to contain ourselves in, it was going back and forth a little, and what in those moments are the umpires are going to do whatever they can to control that, and we were caught reacting or getting it wrong in the wrong parts of the ground, weren't we? So the game changed pretty quickly, and in the end they areas that they were getting on top of us with just prior to that moment became even more enhanced, and so in the end that was the last quarter was a tough one for us.
It's a double whammy as well in that not only do you lose momentum and players get in their heads, but you lose arguably your best player as well, so it's a double blow. Yeah,
huge blow for us. It stretches you, but when it is one of your best players, your most influential in big moments, and that's what showdowns bring. They as I said when I sat down, geez, it had everything, this showdown. It would have been nice to have Isaac in some of those moments.
How was he?
He's first and foremost, he's up and about, so his health and welfare's the priority for us now. He's just making sure he's okay, and he is. He's up and about, but we'll keep a close eye on how he's going.
It looked like they were trying to get under his skin in the first half, trying to maybe give him a little bit of niggle at times. Do you feel like maybe they had a plan to actually try and get under his skin, and then I guess do you feel like it might have gone too far with the Houston ball?
Look, there's no doubt he's a player that. I mean, if I'm an opposition coach, I'm putting a fair bit of time into Isaac Rankin, just on how can you limit his influence on a game. And we do the same thing with, we didn't get it right tonight, but you play against Rosie and Butters and Horn Francis, you've definitely got players that you don't want them to impact the game too much. They were pretty strong in that area throughout the night. That's not something that I've got an issue with.
And how do you feel you handled Butters, particularly when you see him get 42, which is a record number in showdown? So what was your plan and how did it execute? And I know you can say that you got Horn Francis, Connors of world to do with what was Butters in your thinking?
You answer it for me? Yeah, we didn't get it right. I mean, he's had too much footy, but he's also pretty hard to stop when the game and the momentum goes against you. And he's one of the best players in the competition. Tonight we weren't able to get that part of the game done well. I don't know what the clearance number was in the end, but we were under far too much pressure. I think they beat us metres gained out of there. They beat us clearance numbers. It is their weapon. It's why they sit where they do on the ladder, and why they're preparing themselves for finals footy. And he's a big part of that.
What was your view on the Houston incident in general?
Oh, it's not one that I'll comment around. As I mentioned, the priority for me is Isaac's welfare.
What did Ken say to you? You're walking off, felt like you had a bit of a moment and you're shaking your head?
Kenny came over and asked about Isaac and just said, please, pass on my best, and wished him, make sure he's speedy recovery. And then we spoke a little bit about finals.
You talk about showing your age, maybe out on the field. How about in the lead up to the weekend, and even the way Josh celebrated tonight? Are you comfortable with your players poking the bear like that? Would you rather they didn't?
Next is it's the theatre of Showdown. I mentioned it before. It's, you know, when you've got a night like tonight where it's got everything, and part of that is the theatre, and part of that's the adrenaline that's pumping through people's bodies. You know, even I mentioned it, people in the stands their heart rates are through the roof, and from our players and their point of view, they're doing it as well as physical fatigue and working their way through. So emotions are high. You know, it's a part of footy, and we stamp that out and we become robots. It worries me, but yeah, emotions, we can get carried away at times. I think most people in the stadium did tonight.
How did you see the Bond-Rioli matchup? Obviously blanketed him earlier.
Yeah.
Really got a few later.
Yeah, eventually the dam breaks. You know, Bondi's just a really hard-nosed defender who has done, you know, already in such a short period of time. His career's only just starting. He's playing on some of the better players in the competition, but there are, you know, those players don't stay down for too long. And, you know, he had a couple of crucial moments, Rioli, where he, you know, the ball's going in there enough. He's going to hurt you at some point. But I like Bondi's game.
What is it about Bondi that gives you the confidence, you know, put him on Rioli, Stengel, Waitman, Chinnaman, you know, what is it about?
Well, when we drafted him, we found out he had a ninja course in his backyard, and that his dad trained him pretty hard to be a ruthless competitor. And so he's shown that. And I think from a coach and from a teammate point of view, when you play alongside someone who you know is going to give everything, it makes you stand taller, and that's what Bondi brings. And there's still so much more upside, and he's got work-ons, but he won't die wondering.
Ninja course. Do you ever see any photos of it? I'd love to see it.
I'm sure they're online somewhere.
Did you, without text tonight, did your lack of older or volume of on-field leaders show a little bit when you talk about moments of composure? Are you still trying to find those on-field leaders?
Well, you learn a fair bit from tonight, and when you look back on the key moments that we saw, you know, in that second half, there are some of our guys who are still understanding, you know, when composure's needed. There's a lot, as I mentioned, you know, the emotion's high, but there's a key to that. You've then got to knuckle down and play footy, and your timing of when when those niggles start is important. And so a few of our guys will learn a bit from that, and that was the open conversation we had as a group, led by our captain at the end of the game, where he just asked the group the question about at what point are we going to get this right, because, you know, we end up shooting ourselves in the foot from that moment on. You know, late in that third and in the fourth quarter, we do ourselves no favours.
Do you feel like it's been, in the way you frame that, do you feel like it's been an issue for you previously? Do you?
Well, this year we lost a lot of close games, and it hasn't quite been the same. It hasn't quite been the same stadium and the same emotion involved, but key moments where we've made, you know, some fundamental errors when it comes to the way we play, and or we've gone away from the way we play. And so you learn from those that the team doesn't need more from you at this point. They need you just to play your role and be rock solid in that. Sometimes when you've got a younger group, your younger guys can feel like they've got to do it all. I've got to do more now because, you know, we're 8 points behind. And it's actually the opposite to what you need. So we're going to keep working on it. But this year it's probably been the most frustrating part of our season is we've been in the fight and not quite able to finish it off.
They're the coach killers, those retaliation moments where you give away a goal or two where you don't have to. How do you coach that out of players?
We go through the experience of it, unfortunately, but we work on it leading into a game. We had a feeling tonight might have a bit of heat about it. We spoke through that and said the team that knuckles down and gets the job done is going to be the one that comes out on top. We were confident we could go with a really good opposition. Unfortunately, we didn't quite have that composure.
You played down the theatre, but when you talk about the heat and you had the feeling that there was going to be a bit of heat, that was largely due to the theatre that created by your players. So I'll go back to, would you prefer they do or don't do that?
Yeah, again, they're things that we'll continue to work through as a group. And there's a balance with it. there's always a balance with what level you go to with that. We'll keep working on it.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Nick.